sister moon. I seldom see you, seldom hear your tune. Preoccupied with selfish misery.
Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, and welcome to the first day, the first vlog of my my St. Francis of Assisi pilgrimage. I don't know what to call it. I want to call these things a Camino, but of course Camino is Spanish. I don't know what Camino is in Italian. My Camino St. Francis, I can call this. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking all the way from Florence in Tuscany through to Assisi and then on to the Eternal City, Rome. It's about 300 miles, so it's a big pilgrimage, but it's not the same as the Camino Frances that I did before. And I'm not going to do it in one go. Like the last one, I'm going to split it up into chunks, 3, possibly 4, but I think it'll be 3. And I'm doing 8 days this time, and I'm going to go from Florence to a place called San Sepolcro, which is a very small place in the middle of nowhere. And looking at the map, this looks like this is going to be the most challenging in terms of terrain. There are a few hills, but the distances, they're not as great as the ones on Camino. So it seems to be like 18 kilometers a day, that kind of stuff. There's one that's only 9 kilometers. And highlights, I'm going to be staying in the monastery at one point, which I'm quite looking forward to. But it's just going through the hills of Tuscany on this trip. So I'm here in Italy, as you can see, at Garibaldi, not in Florence, I'm in Pisa. And Pisa, that's where the cheap aeroplanes were too. And I've never been here before. I've never been to Tuscany, actually. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know Italy that well. And part of this, as well as the pilgrimage, is to explore Italy a little bit more. So Pisa, it's not a very big place. I would say probably 100,000, 150,000 maximum. But it's a really pretty city. I don't think you can call it an undiscovered gem because it's full of tourists, and of course the most famous site of all is one of the most famous in the entire world, which is the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and that is actually the bell tower of the cathedral. So what I've done is I took I got off the plane, took a kind of, I think it's a monorail type, well, no, it's not a monorail, it's like a cable pulley metro thing to the railway station, had a bite to eat, and then walked through the town. It's a beautiful old town towards the cathedral. Of course, saw the famous Leaning Tower, didn't go up it, it's 20 euros to go up, and really I need 20 euros just to climb a tower is, I don't know, you know. But I did pay to go into the cathedral itself, and there's several museums, and there's a baptistry, which I didn't pay to go in because I didn't really have time. But I went to something called the Campo Santo. It means Holy Land because apparently they sprinkled some earth from the Holy Land when they went on the Crusades there, so it's mingled in with the local land. But it's the cemetery, but it's actually a cloister, so it's a large rectangular cloister. But there was a monastery there, I'm guessing there must have been. And it's got these incredible frescoes, loads of scenes from the Old Testament, Job and Abraham and that kind of stuff. Then going through to the New, and then there's triumph over death, and what happens to you if you're naughty and you die, those kind of things. And then there's ones about hermits, and how living a hermit life is very holy, and that was of course very popular in these parts, and I will be going to some hermitages on the pilgrimage, so I'm quite looking forward to that. And then also the life of the local saint, who was Saint Ranieri, and the only reason I know that name is there was a football manager called Claudio Ranieri, so I think, was he maybe from Pisa, or his family, who knows? I'll have to look that up. But Saint Ranieri was a rich nobleman who was converted to Christ, went on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. When he was praying, was it the Church of Mary, the Grotto of Mary in Jerusalem, the devil came to him and took him to the highest parapet and offered him all the riches, as he did with Christ. Like with Christ, Saint Renarius, I think he refused and then came back, and he's Pisa's saint. Went in the cathedral. It's an incredible cathedral. It's the style here is like Romanesque, and it reminds me of the basilicas in Ravenna that I saw a few years ago, but in this kind of white marble and with obviously later additions. But I quite like the local style of architecture. It's nice, but I couldn't find Ranieri's tomb. So I don't know if that's there anymore or whatever. But yeah, so that's that. Also a very nice little medieval church I went in. In fact, I went in a couple of nice churches as well. So that's that. But I'm about to go to Florence, where I hope tonight to catch a mass. And then, pick up my credential, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And then I will start my walk tomorrow. So that's that. I'll give you a bit of update later from Florence, but in the meantime I'm having a glass of wine. It's holy, of course, blood of Christ, and being come in Italy, a coffee. Greetings again. So just filling you in with what happened after Pisa. So I got on the train and I took the train to Florence. It was not the most exciting railway journey I've ever been on, but it was quite pleasant going through the countryside. A bit longer than I thought it would be, about an hour or so. I didn't think it was that far, but it was. And I, sat across from some very loud Americans who were, they'd done Pisa, then they were doing Florence, and then they were going straight to Rome. So, they were chattering away, obviously quite enjoying themselves in Italy. And then I got to Florence. I have to say, one of my highlights of Florence, which I didn't expect, was the railway station. And it's this fascist era, I guess you'd say, like, it's an Art Deco railway station. It reminded me of the architecture I saw in Eritrea. But this incredible, like, timepiece of, guess 1930s Italy, and from everything, like the foyer with this kind of bent over glasswork, but also even the lettering on the boards and the platforms, everything was really, really well done. And so, yeah, that was ace. Checked into my hostel. It's the only hostel of the trip. And then went for a little bit of a wander. And so went around, just wandering around the centre. So, went into the old town to the Duomo. Duomo means cathedral, I guess, square. And wow, that Florence Cathedral is something else. I'd have probably been more wowed by it if I hadn't seen Pisa Cathedral, which is pretty amazing too, earlier that morning. But yeah, went there, then went into the main square. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Uffizi Galleries just off it, and so there was a load of kids in there, like, shouting and having a good time. And then went down to the River Arno, which I'm going to be walking around tomorrow, and saw the is it the Ponte Vecchio, the bridge with all the shops on it, and so that was that, and just enjoyed walking around in this beautiful evening. Bit chilly, but gorgeous city. I mean, Florence certainly isn't an undiscovered gem. It's probably one of the most touristed cities in the world, but it is so for a reason, and there are some gorgeous sights there. And it's a shame that I didn't have time to go into all the museums and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's that. And then I went and had a meal in a little restaurant before turning in for the night in my hostel. Very tired. Done about 20,000 steps. So, tired. But anyway, that's that. So, the preamble is done. The walk begins. Uncle Travelling Matt. Keep travelling.
The sun and sister moon, I now do see you. I can hear your tune. So much in love with all